What's up, world? Tim Tully, Matt Prisco, George Chunius, Dave Souza live here in what has been the first somber Monday for all you Patriot fans. No free Dunkin' Donuts coffee.
Rather have one of them than 8 of them.
Hey, we're going to get 12. Or what is it? Is that math? 13? It's pretty solid. I'll take 13 and Jared Goff.
Okay.
We're at this point. Yeah, I know. It's I'll go my little weekend first. Thanksgiving, not really my holiday. I have a stomach issue, can't eat anything. So I was like, oh, the Cowboys are on. That's all right. And they got murdered, absolutely murdered. Tony Romo died on the field.
Yep.
Died on the field.
You hate to see that happen.
Yeah, So, I mean, I guess it's better than losing and me thinking I have hope until the numbers finally wear out at the end. But frustrating. Puts an end. Well, maybe not, and that's the saddest part about the whole thing is the division's so bad that maybe, frustrating. Hoping for a quarterback in the draft or a run. Nothing in the middle. I think I'm going to get a quarterback. What about you guys? Anything special this weekend?
Oh, Thanksgiving football, not on Thanksgiving. What more could you ask for?
Home game, not at home.
Yeah, it's awesome. That was a genius idea. Got to see everybody, and by everybody I mean like 3 people at Fenway,
me included.
And that was nice. Got to see all my teachers. All my teachers meaning like one teacher I absolutely hated, and that was great.
You gonna provide spoilers on who that was?
You can figure it out.
Your favorite.
Tim will figure it. Tim knows. So, yeah, I mean, not a bad Thanksgiving, though. Spent some time with the fam. Definitely yesterday was tough. We'll get into that, though. Tough, tough times don't last, tough men do. I think Julian Edelman said that, or some other famous person.
Trace Atkins.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Winston Churchill, one of the two.
Yeah, either one. Probably Julian
Nelson
Edelman.
Mandela.
Yeah. What about you, Dave? How was your weekend?
It was pretty good. Started out with going to see a little bit of Prep Zvarian on Wednesday at Fenway Park. A little unfortunate for the Eagles, weren't able to get the job done. Pick 6 right after allowing a touchdown kind of sealed their fate.
Dude, that was a bad football game.
Thanksgiving was good, ate some turkey. Then on Friday, took the 4.5-hour bus ride up to Burlington, Vermont with the girls' team.
Turkey on Thanksgiving?
Yeah, I know, dude. Crazy. Took the 4.5-hour bus ride up to Burlington, Vermont, girls' hockey team.
Wait, like Turkey the bird? Is that what you had?
Yeah, like
Like turkey sandwiches? Like deli meat? I'm not familiar with this.
Just a cold cup platter, actually. That was the whole thing.
That's pretty solid, man.
Yeah. Yeah, then what is it? Girls' hockey team played Cornell on Saturday and Ohio State on Sunday, so good little weekend.
Yeah.
George.
Yeah, I spent the weekend relishing in the glow of the Boston College football 3-point loss to Notre Dame, which was incidentally our greatest victory of the season.
Prisco, I told you that was going to be close, by the way.
Well, you were right about that. I was a little surprised. Notre Dame kind of shit the bed at the end. Really throughout the entire
First half, yeah,
entirety of the game. It is what it is. A lot of dudes out there. A lot of dudes.
A lot of dudes.
So many freaking dudes, man.
Yep. But it is what it is.
Yeah, I think it speaks to the state of BC football that Notre Dame beat us and they still moved back 2 spots in the rankings.
Did you see Adazio after you guys scored with there's a minute left and if you guys don't recover the onside kick, it's a guaranteed game over, and Adazio's just clapping and just getting everybody hyped.
Dude,
I mean, he's happy we got in the end zone.
Oh my God.
What?
Baltimore punt returner is fast as all hell. He just took one to the house. Oh my God, that guy is fast.
Who is it?
81. He's got some dreadlocks. Kalen Clay, dude, 82-yard punt return. Oh my! And Matt Schaub is up 6-0 in a quarterback duel.
Walk-Off Sports Blog is not watching this Monday night game in protest of ESPN. Plain and simple. That's why we're doing it. So.
Wow.
According to me.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. All right, we'll dive right into the main attraction everybody's been waiting for. Pats Broncos. Patriots lost the game. That was something I didn't see coming. That was something none of you, maybe one of you saw it coming, but nobody who tweeted at me when I said, "Are you the slightest bit concerned with Denver?" Aside from Billy Rocco, everybody said, "No, how the hell do you expect me to be scared of Brock Osweiler?"
I never said that.
No, you didn't. I tweeted out after the Patriots Monday night game that I was like, "Are you the slightest bit concerned about having to play Denver in Denver?" And everybody was like, "Oh no, it's Brock Osweiler. It's Brock Osweiler." And I said to you a couple weeks ago, I would rather play Peyton Manning than Brock Osweiler this year.
No, we agreed on that.
You guys
for
did
sure.
agree on that.
Here, let's let everybody go around because I'm a disgruntled human being today. I'm angry. I actually had someone. I went to get a coffee at the place I normally get coffee, and actually had someone ask me, "Why do you look so angry today?" And I just looked at that man, and I walked away. I didn't say anything.
That's awesome.
Everybody, go ahead. I got thoughts to say the least on this. So.
George?
Yeah, I mean, a few things. Like, not to take anything away from Osweiler, he played a good game. A couple good deep balls down the side at the end there to Sanders. Like, the refs fucked us. Like, we know that. I mean, that pass interference against Gronk is bullshit. McCourty was being held on the overtime run. Again, we didn't play our best game. The defense wasn't sealing the edge at all. C.J. Anderson was beating us to the outside every single time, and it bit us in the ass on that last play. Should have been called penalties aside. But still, I think we were the better team in that game. We should have won. ESPN has it out for us. That's all I got. I'm angry.
Dave?
I broke this down in the blog I posted a couple hours ago. There's 3 main areas that kind of screwed over the Pats this past game. One was the Denver offense. Kudos to Brock Osweiler. Great game. C.J. Anderson did a fantastic job. He was running with power, running downhill really, really well, especially you saw it in that 48-yard scamper to end the game. Season high, 15 attempts for 113 yards, 2 TDs, 1 receiving TD. Second area was untimely injuries. Obviously, Gronk going down with what they're diagnosing right now is a knee bruise. He's week to week right now, so no structural damage, no ligament damage, so that's good. And then Donta Hightower going down as well with an MCL sprain, which is usually 1 to 4 weeks depending on its severity. That was actually a lot more key than a lot of people think, just because with Donta going down, their linebacking core is now without Jamie Collins and Hightower. Gerard Mayo's kind of had more of a quiet year. So it kind of left them more susceptible to the run, which Gary Kubiak took advantage of, kind of mixed up their running and passing game once Emmanuel Sanders started really being able to produce for them. Though Malcolm Butler, fantastic job shutting down Demaryius Thomas for most of the game, except for that one catch towards the end. And then the third area, once again, just the refereeing. You can't blame everything on the referees. The referees didn't carry C.J. Anderson to the end zone, but the offensive pass interference penalty on Gronk was a really big one. The holding on Chung, which I know Matt's going to get into, was brutal. And then just a couple of
not brutal at all.
It wasn't a hold, Tim.
We'll get into it. No, so I'll go first, and then I'll let you rebut.
Oh, okay, all right, sure.
You want to go first?
Go ahead.
Because I have an answer for everything you're going to say.
Go ahead.
First of all, for the first time in a year, 365 days, the New England Patriots lost a game, or whatever it was, right? They haven't lost in forever.
Yeah, all right, the Buffalo game doesn't count. Count the Green Bay game on the road. Yep.
Okay, fine. Yeah, that's what I was saying. I was giving you guys the benefit of the doubt that they rested. They said whatever. I'm gonna get the New England Patriots got outcoached last night.
You're not wrong.
Okay, right? McDaniels, and it wasn't even Belichick, and maybe it wasn't. Patricia called a pretty decent game. They got put in a couple ugly spots.
It was Josh McDaniels.
Who I watched a lot. I've probably watched 80% of the Patriots this year. It seems to me like Donta Hightower gets hurt a lot. Right? So it's a kind of issue. I got my favorite, or one of my favorite players, the Cowboys, plays like 3 plays a year. Sean Lee, right? Dude, injuries happen. Everybody gets hurt. Every team has injuries, whatever. When the Packers won the Super Bowl, they had 17 guys in the IR. So injuries happen. You can still win. Referees happen. I don't think you can point to a big game this year where you can say the referees didn't affect the outcome of the game. And I think last night they did.
Can I chime in quickly, Tim?
Yeah, go ahead.
I'll let you go. I just want I'll let you say what you were saying because I just want to confirm that I actually agree with you. I posted a very emotional, heartfelt blog last night at 12:30, sitting in my bed, eating some banana bread and pondering, what is life? What's life without Gronk? What's life without Edelman? What's life without Lewis? Amendola? We got nobody. But you know what? One thing I think you're spot on is that we got outcoached, and there are 1,000 different variables that go into winning a football game. Refereeing is one of them. Was the refereeing good? No. Plenty of calls went the other way yesterday. Plenty of calls went against us. Plenty of calls even went for us, to tell you the truth.
Well,
I did not once blame the referees in that post, and I still don't blame the referees solely for losing that game. Were they a factor? Yes. I'm sorry. Continue.
Yeah, let me go to the crowd of the masses. I appreciate you saying the referees weren't at fault, because they weren't.
He said they weren't solely at fault.
Okay, well, there were 6 penalties called on one team and 5 penalties called on another. There were 6 penalties called on the Broncos, 5 penalties called on the Patriots. Okay? So, I mean, you could say the time of them or whatever. You guys remember the big Brandon LaFell drop on the 5-yard line when he dropped it was like a punt from Brady and he dropped it?
Yes.
Yep.
Von Miller's jersey was being ripped in half on that play. They didn't call it.
Yeah.
So maybe that's a makeup. So maybe later in the game on the Keyshawn Martin play where it was ticky-tacky, right? I mean, that's
So
it wasn't. He didn't rip his jersey off. He didn't do anything. You have to think if there's holding on every play, they have to call it sometime. But they threw the flag before the play happened. So you can't be like, oh, they're trying to screw him. They're trying to screw him. If you want to say the refs are trying to screw you guys, rewind 2 weeks ago and give Odell Beckham that touchdown, right?
Yeah.
Because that's an objective call. For all you Patriot fans out there, you can blame the refs when they lose. You can blame this, blame that, blame that. But when they win, it's not always because the refs didn't screw them. It's because maybe the refs are screwing the other team, if you want to say that. Right? He took 2 steps down. You could go to all these different plays from the year. And I obviously watch most of the Cowboys games, so I can tell you that Dez catch at the end of the year, referees decided that game. Okay?
We know.
Rodgers had a chance to make a play at the end there, right? We know. Yeah, I get it. Beckham, that catch there could have been a touchdown.
The Detroit-Dallas game a couple weeks before the
could have been pass interference, right? And they threw it and they decided whatever. So I was the beneficiary there, but the Lions still had a chance to win, and it's just timeliness. Every penalty makes a difference, right? I looked at the Patriots are in the middle of the pack for getting penalized this year. 75, they're being treated just as fair as everybody else.
Yep.
And maybe the last 3 weeks, the Giants game, the Bills.
A lot of that situational.
Yeah.
A lot of,
The Patriots have been waiting to lose for 3 weeks. The Giants game, the Bills game, and this game, they've been letting teams hang around. And if you're, I get they got injuries, I get they have everything, but they were gonna lose, and the guy punted because they have the injuries, and they have this rookie that nobody knows returning kicks in the snow.
He's dead to me. He's
that
dead
ball.
to the team at this point.
They could put Edelman out there in a wheelchair, and the Patriots win that game last night. Gronkowski gets hurt. Gronkowski got hurt because the Patriots were so freaking cocky that they were passing with 2.5 minutes left in the game.
I don't think that's
run the goddamn ball.
One could argue he got hurt because you jinxed him.
Hey, maybe I did. Well, you know what I did?
Because
if the Patriots,
you caused all this.
I caused it, maybe I caused it by trusting the greatest coach in the history of football to run the clock out. Run the clock out.
All right, let the voice of reason speak here.
I'm speaking. You already interrupted me.
I have not had a continuous 5 minutes to speak yet.
I told you you'd get your turn. All
right, I'm talking. It's my turn.
It's entertaining.
My turn.
Are you popcorn, George?
Of course I'm eating popcorn. This is
solid
fun. It's better than movies.
You were eating a freaking peppermint candy.
It opened up on me. I didn't have a choice. It was going to go bad.
Let's talk about this penalty stuff. Tim?
Yeah.
You're right. Penalties, do they cost the Patriots the game? No. Ultimately, no. They don't cost the Patriots the game. Patrick Chung, holding. You can argue it however you want. I thought it was ticky-tacky. Thought it was a terrible call. Wouldn't have called it in a million years. Wouldn't have called it on the Broncos. Wouldn't have called it on the Patriots. No matter which way. I genuinely mean that. Holding on the Martin play, the 40-yard gain, that probably would have ended the game if you really look at how that would have played out.
Yeah.
Wouldn't have called that. Gronk PI. Give me a freaking break. He stuck his elbow out.
That was bad.
Well, I'll tell you what. Gronk is an interesting subject. He went full extension, but guys body up Gronk much worse than that. So if that's Dez, if that's Edelman, if that's DeAndre Hopkins, they'll call pass interference, but they probably shouldn't. I mean, on Gronk, what's your statute of limitations on Gronk? Because Gronk gets hit, Gronk gets held on every single play.
Right.
So I agree with Gronk there that's like, how can you call that? How can you do that? So, but okay, you still have 3 minutes left, and you have a chance to win the game. You get the ball back on a completely another drive in the same situation.
Look,
and you don't.
The bottom line is this. You're right. Josh McDaniels was a fool last night. Not in just the end of the game, not in which the way he called the end of the game. How about the 2 minutes left? You have the best quarterback in football. You have 2 minutes, 3 timeouts. I understand you want to be relatively conservative because you're getting the ball back. You decide to run 3 running plays, run out the clock, end the half? Are you kidding me? What is this? That's a Gary Kubiak move. That's something Gary Kubiak does. That's not something the Patriots do. Yeah. That's not something I can possibly.
And I guess this is circumstantial to the Patriots having all these injuries and not having their weapons and whatever. But the Patriots' whole thing, next man up, next man up, next man up. As long as we got Brady, we have hope. Dude, they look like the freaking Matt Castle Cowboys. Check down. Dude, no, the conservative nature of the play calling.
I will say, the third down play calling, I agree with Prisco, the third down play calling the last few weeks, just as a result of injuries, has been extremely conservative. We're not, we're either handing it, I have never seen us hand off the ball on like a 3rd and 10, just hand it off and just waste the drive. I've never seen us do that.
The conceding to punt. I understand what you're saying.
See, I think a lot of that has to do with Julian Edelman, just because as a slot receiver, a lot of the times what they'll do is they'll do a really quick slant pass or a really quick screen pass to him, and they'll pass to him, and if he goes down right there, it's going to be 4th and 6, and they'll ask him to scamper to get those extra 6 yards, but you don't have that anymore. And especially without Danny Amendola going down the next week, it's still like another situation like that.
Well, another situation which could lead to the situational play calling is the fact that the last 2 weeks, the Patriots have played against Tyrod Taylor and Brock Osweiler. So they said, fine, you know what? Our defense is pretty badass. We have who might be the best defensive coordinator in football right now, calling up plays to confuse you and everything. And the conservative play calling is what has let teams stay in games. And they won last week against the Bills, but the Bills had a chance to do something at the end. So you have to figure they're putting their chips on their defense here until they get their guys back. And you know what? It's a pretty solid task. And Brock Osweiler beat him.
Well, that was my issue with it. You said it. The Patriots were waiting to lose for 3 weeks. You can only be so conservative for so long. The play calling was atrocious. There was multiple instances where we ran 3 straight running plays. The best quarterback in football. That's a straight-up insult to Tom Brady. I don't give a damn who he's throwing to. He's a better quarterback. He's the best quarterback, as I said, in the game of football right now. You utilize your weapons. You don't run with LeGarrette Blount, Brandon Bolden, and James White. Are you kidding me? You know what they combined for yesterday? On 16 carries, they combined for 39 yards. That's not even 2.5 yards per carry. That's the best you can do. Meanwhile, Tom Brady, when he's given the opportunity to throw the football on the first drive, they didn't have a single running play. What does he do? 47 yards down the field, bang, 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 touchdown. What does he do? And the only other time he's allowed to throw the football, bang, 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 field goal, ties the game, and one of the best drives of the season, mind you.
That was a great end of the game drive right there.
Proof, and I think you admitted it earlier, that he, not Cam Newton, who did not throw a single touchdown against the Cowboys, he is the most valuable player in football. 3,600 yards, 28 touchdowns.
I'm willing to say it. I think Tom Brady is officially the MVP for me, and not because I saw that dink of a guy celebrate up by 25 points on a first down to a team with their back quarterback, and their starting linebacker said that taking Romo out of the game is a big play for them because they would rather. He goes, once we got him out, that was a big play for us. Shut the hell up, Luke Kuechly doesn't say that, and I'm not saying anything else about that entire situation. Luke Kuechly wouldn't have said that.
You wouldn't have.
So, it's Cam Newton, the whole song and dance. I'm ready for them to lose. So do whatever. They didn't impress me. Their defense impressed me. And their offense scored 1 touchdown.
Luke Kuechly, that's a dude.
Dude, that's a dude.
Yes, he is.
Dude, he was off the hook, and Romo was awful. Romo was as bad as I've seen him in a while, and it could be because he hadn't played in 2.5 months. He has to play 2 games in 4 days after getting roughed up. So maybe he's, that's why I'm saying you guys said it's better than having 3 losses. I'm fine with that, but it's time for a new quarterback because you can't rely on him being. You have to have a quarterback waiting. because any play, as I've been saying this for years, any play could be his last play, and the more prolonging, just But I'll get away from the Cowboys because they're 3-8, they're irrelevant for now.
Quick question for George and Matt as Patriots fans. Would you rather see the Panthers lose a game in the regular season, or would you rather see them go 16-0 and then lose to the Patriots?
I don't give a shit.
Yeah,
I'd rather them be undefeated. They're not. They're going to go undefeated. They don't. The only team that I think can beat them is the Giants.
Yeah, they're going to win.
That's if the Giants who played the Patriots show up. The Giants who played the Redskins yesterday show up. It's going to be a massacre.
See, in San Francisco, don't give a shit.
Better yet, the Eli that shows up. I'll say one last thing about this game yesterday, and I'll have my final address to the Patriots Nation. There are 16 games in the NFL season, 19 if you're lucky, maybe 20 if you're lucky and dangerous. You're allowed to lose. And just because you lose, it doesn't mean that NBC hates you. And it doesn't mean that the refs hate you. And it doesn't mean the Broncos are scumbags. And it doesn't mean blah, 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 blah. Last night, the Patriots lost because they were afraid to shove it down their throats at the end of the game. They could have run. I texted Matt, game over, with 2 minutes and 45 seconds left.
Why this is all your freaking
fault. Oh, okay, it's my fault. Sure. Blame it on me.
Thank you.
Well, blame it on me. But you know what?
Let's accept responsibility.
Yeah, I'll take responsibility for the Patriots losing. But if it was on me, if I could control that, you think Tony Romo would be dead right now? You think he'd be in a coffin?
I don't know that for sure. I don't know that for sure.
He would have won last year and retired by now.
The Patriots lost. That wasn't supposed to happen, and I think you played a major part in it. And I think we can.
I will say, as soon as Gronk got hurt, I texted you and I said, I feel terrible if that's on me.
Of course, no. I don't think you wanted Gronk to be here. I think anybody that's like not a douchebag loves Rob Gronkowski.
If you appreciate football, you think Rob Gronkowski is the most fun player to watch.
Yeah,
he's not cocky.
All the Denver
best in the
defenders
game, and he's awesome.
And he's just a good, wholesome dude.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Patriots got beat. They got beat by Brock Osweiler too. You want to say it's your JVs? You want to say this? You got beat by Denver without DeMarcus Ware and without Peyton Manning. So you can say how you want
Peyton Manning.
Oh my God.
Hey, it's a guy's second career start. It's his second career start, and you lost.
And he's pretty good.
Swallow that. He's pretty freaking good. Maybe he's the next Tom Brady. Maybe he's the next. Who cares? Maybe he's the next Mark Sanchez. Who cares? It was a loss. It looks there's a 1 in the column, and the owner of that is Brock Osweiler and Josh McDaniels for calling all those silly plays. But they should have just run the hell out of the clock at the end of the game. And Denver, all hats off to Denver. Denver said, you can't run. Pass. Beat us. Beat us with Chris Harper. Beat us with Keyshawn Martin. Go ahead.
Fuck that guy.
And they're also like, we got the refs on our side, so you really can't. No, I'm just screwing with you guys. We'll move on to college football playoff. And do we really have to? Because I think out of respect for the University of Michigan, we should have a moment of silence.
That's okay. We can move on.
To honor the death of the Michigan football program. Some would say that game was a murder. I wouldn't say that. I say it was more of a kidnapping because we let him squeak out there. Urban Meyer is a better football coach than Jim Harbaugh, and all you want to say it all year. Jim Harbaugh. 42 points on Jim Harbaugh in the second best defense in the country. So that's all I'll say.
Can I quickly respond to that?
Yeah, let's hear it.
Just briefly. Jim Harbaugh took a team with a no-name quarterback. By the way, you have 3 good quarterbacks. Jim Harbaugh took a team of guys.
I'd say we have 2. I don't know if I'd count Cardell.
Fine. Whatever. 2 and a guy that won a national championship. Jim Harbaugh took a team that he didn't recruit. Jim Harbaugh took a team that nobody expected to do well except for me, who said they go 9-3 at the beginning of the year, and what happens? They go 9-3. I just can't imagine what it's like to be wrong so much for everyone else. I'm always right.
Yeah, but I'll say what I say.
Unreal.
Wait, I'll say what I've been saying all year. Michigan isn't back until they beat Ohio State.
They're not
back. And everybody wants to say Michigan's back. Michigan is not. Is far from being back.
They sucked ass for years.
Dude, there's a size 12 Nike sneaker hole in Michigan's ass from Urban Meyer kicking it so hard. Okay? It was a massacre. It was. You right?
It was a
massacre.
10 shades of awful. It was not good at all.
It was a massacre.
All the hype going into the game of Harbaugh's first game against Michigan as a head coach, taking Brady Hoke's squad, a team that if they were still under Brady Hoke, a lot of people would think they'd be like 6-5 at the end of the year. So, I mean, you do have to tip your hat to Jim Harbaugh for kind of turning the program around, but it's not even that you have to beat Ohio State, but you got to give them a game, and that was
And
bad.
you know what, Matt? I'll discredit something as well. The Michigan-Ohio State game is notoriously close, regardless of who's who. It was 42-41 when Ohio State was undefeated.
I remember that. You're right.
So, and it's not like Michigan is freaking Boston College, dude. This is a team who gets top 10, top 15 recruits, and last year they had a bad recruiting class because they were in a coaching change. So it's not like Jabril Peppers is freaking, Billy Flutie or whatever his name is. Dude, this dude, Jabril Peppers is the number 1 player in the country 2 years ago as a recruit. He's a stud, all right? And everybody want to say all year, this Michigan defense hasn't let up a touchdown in 3 games. This Michigan defense is so good, so good. They got embarrassed. They got embarrassed at home. And you know what the biggest shame of the entire situation is? The Ohio State team that played on Saturday would win the national championship. The Ohio State team that played Saturday and played week 1 against Virginia Tech, that team wins the national championship. And the saddest part about the entire situation is because that team failed to show up for the middle of the season, and especially that Michigan State game. Ohio State's going to play Houston in the Fiesta Bowl, or they're going to play Notre Dame in the Rose Bowl, and they're going to blow whoever they play out. And, Alabama's going to walk through and win the national championship when the SEC is getting a lot of heat
Clemson,
today.
dude.
Well, I'll say this.
Clemson's
Alabama,
100% losing next Saturday. 100%. If you would like to put, I will bet you that North Carolina beats Clemson.
I
Slap
got North
that.
Carolina too.
everyone's
I got North
saying
Carolina,
that.
too.
I don't think Clemson's the best team in the country. I actually think you could argue that they're the 3rd best team in the country behind Alabama and Oklahoma.
Yeah,
But-
North Carolina's the hottest team in the country. The hottest team. in the
North
country.
Carolina might be the hottest team in the country, but I'm still not going to bet against Clemson right now. There's no way.
Yeah, I mean they're a lot. They just haven't. Except they beat Notre Dame in Kaiser's first or second game, right?
Mm-hmm.
Before he was so in double overtime on a bad throw. It was a fluky kind of overtime.
They
But
should have lost that game.
so they should have lost that game. If they lose that game, they're not even in contention. So, but they're undefeated. So good. They're where they need to be. I want to play out a little situation for you guys. You're on the college football playoff board. You have the chance to pick your top 4.
Yeah.
Michigan State or Iowa, right? So you figure the Big Ten champion is in. We'll just say, for the hell of it, we'll say Iowa wins. Okay? Oklahoma's an automatic bid, right? Because they're impressive enough and they won their conference. So you have 2. Big Ten championship, Oklahoma. You say Alabama wins. I don't think Tim Tebow's showing up to play for Florida on Saturday. They scored 2 points against Florida State. They're not scoring 20 against Alabama. 4, UNC beats Clemson. Okay? UNC is currently ranked.
UNC beats Clemson.
This is my hypothetical.
Hypothetical, okay.
Who is your college football playoff? 1, 2, 3, 4 right now.
For me, Alabama, and I think they should have the number 1 ranking anyways. Oklahoma. If Clemson, I also think you're not. I'll wait for this. If Clemson loses, I'll put Iowa. My number 4. Yep, you're welcome. You win all day today. Ohio State should definitely be in this. There's not even a question about it. They played 1 fluke game. Look, if you look at it, if it's okay for Oklahoma to lose to Texas mid-year, okay, it's 100% okay for Ohio State to lose to Michigan State without Connor Cook, regardless without Connor Cook. I'm skeptical about Connor Cook anyways and his level.
Yeah. Well, here's my defense for that loss. Ohio State played their worst game of the season.
And got out-coached. When does Urban Meyer get out-coached?
Didn't trail for 1 second of that game.
Until the end.
Right? Against the number 3 team in the country right now. Or number 4 team. So, does that look better than Texas? Yeah. Does that look better than Ole Miss? Yeah. Does that look better than North Carolina? Yeah.
Stanford?
Stanford has 2 losses.
True, but I mean, they just beat Notre Dame in a classic.
They beat Notre Dame in a classic. Notre Dame didn't deserve to be in the top 10 anyways. And
Notre
this is
Dame,
coming from a
Notre
fan.
Dame only beat BC by 3 in a home game,
Yeah.
right, George?
If you're in a competitive
home
game,
game.
if you're in a competitive game against us, you suck. I don't care.
Okay, so my top 4, I'm deciding between for my final spot in that scenario, Ohio State, North Carolina. I don't know how you can pick against the conference champion that just beat the number 1 team in the country. However, their schedule very, very weak. Kind of like TCU last year, where they had 3 FCS schools. TCU's loss was to Baylor, or I don't remember, Texas Tech or something like that. Their loss was to South Carolina, who lost to the Citadel 2 weeks ago. It was opening night, granted, but they lost to a 3-9 South Carolina team.
Question: in your hypothetical scenario, how bad does Iowa State beat Michigan State? Is it a close one?
Michigan State, the loser of that game is out. It doesn't matter. The loser will have 2 losses, and if Iowa loses, you take Ohio State over Iowa. Because Iowa's only loss will be to Michigan State, and it won't be by 3, and they haven't played as tough teams as Ohio State, and they haven't put a pounding on a team like Ohio State put a pounding on number 12 ranked Michigan last week. So if Iowa loses, I think if Iowa's not undefeated, they're not ranked even close to where Ohio State is. But I think if Michigan State wins, Iowa's way out, and if Iowa wins, Michigan State will be behind Ohio State because they have 2 losses.
Yeah, I'm even
One of
skeptical
which being
Iowa too. But
Yeah, I haven't seen Iowa. I mean, I watch all Iowa's games because they're always on here, but
yeah, I've seen them a lot too.
they haven't played. I haven't seen them play anybody, and I don't think Michigan State's that good if you can stop the run and make them, you know. But
Yeah,
they
they're
did.
not gonna be
They
able to.
ragdolled their defensive line and their offensive line ragdolled the team that I thought was going to win the national championship.
I think it would be a
home.
really interesting game to see Iowa-Clemson if both of them, like if they're 1-4 going in, because Iowa's a really big physical team, and we're going up against a Clemson team that kind of relies a lot more on its speed with its quarterback.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm really indifferent on it. So I think Alabama really getting a pass for losing Ole Miss and only playing 2 ranked teams, one of which is no longer ranked.
Is anyone else getting that sound from Tim?
I got the same
Yeah,
thing.
I got that. Yeah.
I don't know. What was that noise? Just the
Yeah.
ding or whatever.
You got to fix your mic.
No, I'm in. Was it a
Okay,
ding or is it like a?
You're
good now.
Okay.
You're good.
They're good.
All right. So you guys want to talk Heisman at all? Just go through your Heisman pick.
All right.
I'm gonna pick Ezekiel Elliott because he took over that game the other day when everybody knew he was getting the ball.
Go ahead, Dave. You pick. This is the thing.
Come back.
come back.
I think Baker Mayfield wins. I think Baker.
All right,
Mayfield
fine.
wins.
If you can just say that, I think Mayfield wins it. I think I absolutely do. He's flourished into one of the best quarterbacks in the country this year, if not the best. A lot of people want to give it to Derrick Henry. I don't understand why. I don't even see him becoming an elite level running back in the NFL. To be perfectly honest with you, he lacks the true explosiveness that Eddie Lacy has. And they're nowhere near the same type of player. Just because they look a lot the same doesn't mean
They both have dreads.
I'll tell you what. If you're giving me a pick of running backs, I'll take Henry right after Zeke. And just because I've watched Zeke, what's it called? Henry gets 40 carries a game, and he's running just as hard on the 40th carry.
Yeah,
Dude,
well,
he's
his work rate's great.
pounder.
You can't get 40 carries a game, and that's how you get your 150 yards a game.
No, but he gets like 230. But his yards per
Yeah, he
carry.
got 260 this week.
Dude, he wears people down. So I'm a big fan of him, and mostly because in the Sugar Bowl last year, had he been in better shape, they would have rolled the hell. They would have ran away with the game.
Well, Matt Miller agrees with me that Derrick Henry's not a top level running back.
I take Zeke. Zeke's a better pass rusher. Zeke's a pass blocker. Zeke's a better running back. You know, he's a much better pass blocker, which is my most important running back trait. I think it's much easier to run than it is to pass block. And when your quarterback is a bottle of glass, you need a guy who can block. And McFadden missed a block. Chris Gronkowski missed a block, and Romo was out for the year in 2011. Can't block, can't hang.
George hasn't given his yet.
Yeah, I go to Deshaun Watson purely just off the eye test.
He's my one guy I would think, no, not at all.
No, I think
That's a Ray Lewis pick. Ray Lewis thinks he's the high. Is he sneaky giving balls to kids now? Because that's what determines MVPs.
No, I'm just going off. I know how badly BC sucks at football, believe me, but we do have a nasty defense. We're the number 1 defense in the country, and Deshaun Watson, only quarterback I saw who torched us.
Yeah.
Granted, he has a great wide receiving core, and our secondary is pretty small, so they don't match up well against like the 6'5" guys. But he was torching us. He was bombing it downfield, and like we had no answer for him whatsoever.
Yeah, I agree.
I wanted to say Leonard Fournette, but just like the past couple of weeks,
where'd he go?
Yeah, you can't pick him. No way. He's been off. Literally 3 weeks have been taken off from him.
So I'm probably going to say Mayfield just because of Ohio State's middle of the season.
Yeah, I agree. I think Mayfield wins. I mean, I think if Zeke had a conference championship, he'd have a pretty good chance. But also, get the job done in the biggest game of the year. And he gets the ball.
LSU just reversing its course like midway through the game and saying, "No, Les Miles, you're fine." Like,
yeah, let's talk
180.
Yeah, I think the fans were like, dude, you can't. Like, this guy is. I mean, Saban built them up, but Les Miles has more 10-win seasons than they had ever had before he came.
I think Les Miles is a great coach. I don't know why they want to get rid of him.
George, I'll have a quick thing for you. How about BC going 0-8 in the conference with the number 1 defense in the country?
It's for those of you who watched BC, that is a high school offense. Like that might be worse than a high school offense.
Dude, they just need one dude. Like when they had.
The problem is we had John Hillman. If we had John Hillman, we win some of those like shittier games. Like we beat Wake Forest. We could win that Duke game if we had Hillman. It's just the running game. The running game disappeared. The offensive line. It stemmed a lot from the offensive line because they couldn't block anything.
You could be offensive line. Man, what happened?
It's the problem is we had the turnover because we had a bunch of grad students last year and they all graduated. So now we just got a bunch of sophomores basically on the line, which we never have. Yeah. But yeah, it all stemmed from the offensive line because Adazio likes to pound it up the middle to everyone's
Coach O style.
But,
what dudes do.
That's what dudes do, and it does not work at all. But without the offensive line and the run, we like Hillman could do something on his own even with that offensive line, but without him, we didn't have any good rushers. The quarterbacks just don't know how to throw, so I don't know why they call themselves quarterbacks. And even if there was people, no one had a chance to get open. Like the wide receiving core is not good, but nobody had a chance to get open because Jeff Smith had pressure on him the second he snapped the ball. So train wreck on offense, very encouraging on defense, and it's a shame that we wasted that season.
George, quick question: if you guys had Andre Williams in his almost Heisman season a couple years ago, how do you think BC does this year?
I think we win 5 games. I think we win 5 games.
Dude, that offensive line was bad.
The offensive line was atrocious.
Dude, look at
Andre's year. They were nasty.
Think about Andre Williams. Dude, Andre Williams has been in the NFL for 4 years, and he might have 800 yards.
Yeah, he's terrible in the NFL. They had that. Yeah, I think his year, they had like 3 offensive linemen who ended up in the NFL. So
they need quarterbacks. Every team, that's all they need to transcend you. Like Texas A&M, dude, they were off the map. Johnny came, and now they're programmed. Yep. Speaking of Mr. John F. Football, F for, you can guess it. True or false? We're going to play a little game here. I'm going to say true or false. Go down the line. You just give me your answer and maybe a sentence on why, a little snippet. True or false, Johnny Manziel will someday be a starting quarterback for an entire NFL season. True or false?
False. He'll never be a starting quarterback. Not because of his off-the-field issues, partly because of that, mostly because of his lack of skill. He doesn't have NFL skills. He's never going to be a pro quarterback.
George.
False. He's same thing with Ryan Mallett. He's not showing the willingness to grow up and be a professional. And like Prisco said, he just doesn't have the talent.
Okay, Dave.
True, just because eventually the Browns are going to be forced into a scenario where they have to.
Well, dude, this is after this year's all right, true or false? I'll stay off of that one. True or false? Peyton Manning will never start another game for the Denver Broncos.
Please never start a game in the NFL ever again, Peyton. False. He'll never start a game in the NFL ever again. He's one of the 5 best quarterbacks to ever play football. End your career. Don't let people remember you the same way they're going to remember Kobe at the end of his career. It's brutal.
Which we will get to in a second.
George?
True, he'll never start another game for the Broncos. Osweiler, that was his big coming out party last night against the Pats. As much as I hate to admit it, he looked good a lot of the time. He's
Made a
much
lot
more
of big
effective.
throws, man.
Much more effective than Peyton. The big thing is he plays mistake-free football. That's all they need with that defense.
Absolutely.
Is just avoid turnovers. I think Peyton will play in the NFL. Some like the Titans or someone will scoop him up, some desperate team. But he, like Prisco said, he shouldn't. It's over.
Dave.
Similar to George, I'm going to say true. I don't think he plays for the Broncos again, just because I think Osweiler, as much as I kind of didn't believe in him a couple weeks ago on Dorm Talk, I think he's the real deal just after what he's done the past 2 weeks, although it's only been a small sample size. But I think Peyton, just like as a fiery competitor, similar to Brett Favre, I think he just has that unwillingness to ever give up.
Bitchy Brett Favre.
Yeah, I will say false because I think they're going to have him play Week 17 so they can rest Brock Osweiler for the playoffs.
That'd be nice. That'd be nice.
I'm just kidding. I don't think he'll play.
He'll
I think
retire
next
before.
year, wouldn't be surprised if Peyton Manning was a New York Jet for a season.
That would be awesome. No, I'm not going to lie. That would be awesome.
Wouldn't be surprised if he
That'd
was
be
a
fun.
Detroit
That'd be
Lion
fun.
if they're doing the turnover and they want to get rid of Stafford like I've been, because Stafford's been pretty good lately. That
He's
game
looked
was
good in the
awesome
Cooter
to watch.
offense.
Yeah.
Really good.
Yeah, so I like
Up
Stafford. I was
Buffalo
hoping they were going to let go of Stafford, and that was going to be the next dude for my boys. True or false? The St. John's Prep Zavarian Thanksgiving game was the biggest mistake in recent St. John's Prep history.
True, 100%. And there have been some big-time mistakes. That was brutal. One of the absolute worst things the Prep has ever done. God, I love that school like more than anything. But let's be perfectly honest here. Having a game at Fenway Park does not help you see your friends. Absolutely brutal. It's part for the alumni, part for the players, and especially considering the fact that the game doesn't matter for the players anymore, it's mostly for the alumni. If you want to make the argument that it's for the players, well, where does all the money come from to support your school? The alumni. Don't be a dumbass.
George.
I didn't go, but I'll say true. Just to Prisco's point about I didn't understand why they called it a Thanksgiving game if it wasn't on Thanksgiving. So just for the fact that we had to play that a day before, I say that was pointless.
Yep. David.
False. Like Frozen Fenway, it's just about the opportunity for the students and the student athletes as well, be able to get the opportunity to one day sit down at a ballpark when they got their 8-year-old kid with them and say, I played football here like when I was in high school.
Yeah, I also say false. I think going to the game, really, really cool to see that. I don't know when's the next time they'll play football at Fenway as a whole. It was a bummer the way it was set up that it was ran extremely poorly. Having everybody mixed in and just it wasn't run right. The game doesn't matter because Massachusetts screwed up the whole playoff system.
There you go.
And it's for me, it's like the Steelers uniforms or like the Cowboys uniforms. Dude, it's a good thing. Thanksgiving football, that's a huge thing
awesome.
growing up. So maybe 1 year you play at Fenway, sure, but you lose a home game, so we won't get a home game to see everybody till senior year. And the kids that just graduated won't get to go back and see everybody until their junior years. So I was disappointed by that. It was cool to go down there. It was cool if you were just hanging out with your core group of friends, which I was. But I didn't get to see any of you guys. I only saw Dave for a little bit, and he's my least favorite. No, I'm just kidding.
Thanks.
But no, it was cool, but it wasn't cool enough.
Mm-hmm.
One last true or false. True. I'm trying to put this correctly into words. True or false? The Patriots will have a number 1 seed.
True.
True.
Wait, Sean Walsh, do you have an answer? Sean Walsh, we're going to have guest Sean Walsh come in.
Let's hear Sean Walsh.
Walsh, true or false? The Patriots are going to have the number 1 seed.
Let me guess, the Bengals are going to
They're
have the
gonna lose
number
another
1
game.
seed.
They're going to lose 2 more, and the Bengals are going to win out.
Who are they going to lose to?
Who they going to beat them Bengals?
Don't worry. The Bengals could get the number 1 seed in the AFC, and they'll still lose the first game.
Yeah.
It's Dalton.
So the Patriots will have. So technically, the Patriots will have home field advantage if the Bengals are 1. Because they'll never have to play an away game.
That's a guarantee.
That's good.
So that's it for true or false. We'll go talk a little bit Kobe Bryant real quick because we've been on forever.
Yeah. If you want to make this, I could even make this my walk-off.
Yeah, let's just do
we'll move on. We'll
Let's
move
just do
on.
walkouts, yeah.
All right. This is my walk-off for Kobe Bryant. Kobe Bryant's the second greatest shooting guard in the history of basketball. If he wasn't compared to Michael Jordan his entire career, really good chance people probably would have appreciated him even more. The only problem is the way he ended his career, and I think players need to take notice of this. LeBron James needs to take notice of this. There's going to come a point in LeBron James' career where he can't physically be what he is right now. LeBron's a below-average jump shooter. He bullies people with his body. That's the way he plays the game. Kobe was one of the greatest shooters of all time. Worst shot selection ever, but one of the greatest shooters of all time. Kobe got to the point where his body couldn't even do what he needed to do. Yeah,
I will say for Kobe, in Kobe's defense, dude, tearing his Achilles last year, he was probably going to retire at the end of last year.
Horrible.
You don't want to go out on injury, kind of like, Steve Smith, who everybody loves Steve Smith, dude. Steve Smith is a punk. I can't, dude, get out of here with class act. And, dude, Steve Smith, he just...
that guy sucks.
Get out of here. Get out of here with Steve Smith.
But really quickly to Kobe.
Punched a ref on Christmas Eve one time.
I'm not even surprised. Look, really quickly on Kobe, okay? Kevin Durant came out today, and a bunch of people have come out today and said people have been disrespectful to Kobe. You've been treating him like shit. You've been treating him like this. You know what? Kobe Bryant took a contract for 2 years, $48.5 million. Okay? Took a max contract, got paid like a top player in this league. He shot at 37% last season while playing 35 games. He played 6 games the year before he got hurt. And now this year, he's shooting at 30%. Kobe Bryant's been disgracefully bad in these games. Meanwhile, Tim Duncan, who over him is the best player of this generation, other than LeBron James, he doesn't count. Tim Duncan's been averaging 19 points and 11 rebounds while making $10.4 million over 2 years. Okay? That's what Tim Duncan does. Meanwhile, this man's brought a championship and taken the Okay? Yeah. That's right. Class. That's why he deserves criticism, and that's my walk-off.
George, who you got?
I was going to do Kuechly, be a dude, but I'm going to go...
I'm dead enough. You don't have to.
Yeah, I was doing it mostly out of spite. But I'm going to go with Jim Bob Cooter, offensive coordinator of Detroit Lions, mostly just because I wanted to say his name on air.
Best name in
sport.
What was that name?
Jim Bob Cooter. Yeah, but the Lions' offense has looked completely just revolutionized. It's been revolutionized since they hired him. Stafford finally looks like Stafford again. The run game's actually gotten going. Amir Abdullah's been doing something in the offense, which we haven't seen out of him since week 1. So yeah, got to give the nod to Jim Bob.
Yep. Dave.
My walk-off's got to be Stanford kicker Conrad Ukrapina. He nailed a 45-yard field goal as time expired against Notre Dame. 6'1", 193-pound guy from Pasadena, California. Great game back and forth between the Irish and the Cardinal. Unfortunate the way it had to end it, especially for Matt, but ND scores 35 seconds left. You think it over. Stanford marches down the field, and for a guy in college making an NFL distance field goal, it was a pretty special moment for him.
My walk-off, this is a preemptive walk-off. My walk-off is to the Dallas Cowboys scouting department as a advanced congratulations for drafting your quarterback of the future in May. I was supposed to go to the Jets game in December. We were thinking about going, decided not now that Romo's dead. Might just go to the draft and say, you know what, son? I was there when...
sucks so much.
You know what, son? I was there when Paxton Lynch was drafted to the Cowboys, and now he's won 10 Super Bowls in a row. It's a pretty big day. Or, I'll set up for Goff, too. Goff's a badass. But, I go through it. We don't give a damn for the whole state of Michigan. Urban Meyer 4-0 against that team up north, or mostly known as that embarrassment up north. It was a hell of an effort from Michigan. It was really cute when they hung along, but they can't hang with the big boys. That's all I got. Maybe next year, all right? Urban Meyer College Football Playoff starts December 31st. Go Bucks, and tank for Goff. That's all I got to say. Thanks, guys.